Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would kind of show you this carrier thing that I started, and I recorded building what I've got here so far, but then I had problems with some copy and paste and some ghost blocks. Actually, all these blocks over here are not real, and it kind of messed up on me, but I realized it was pretty boring on what I was doing, basically a lot of measuring. So let me explain what's going on here. To start with, what I'm trying to build is a fairly, I don't know, kind of a lot of requirements for a starter style carrier. And reading comments yesterday on the video when I proposed the idea, there were some people that also would like it to have Helios module support. And that wasn't part of the original plan, but I wanted to accommodate for that. So what I ended up doing so far, and this is just a lot of measuring, basically, is I first measured out a Helios module on its size and dimensions, and then I kind of set it up so it would fit into the back portion over here. So essentially it's matching the 19 block width over there. And then once it gets past the depth of the Helios module, it gets into the interior portion of the ship. Now the interior is going to be very asymmetrical, and there'll be a lot of asymmetrical things on the exterior as well. So what I did is I measured out a hangar door here, and granted this is super crude right now, just a bunch of measuring and trying to figure out how I was going to try to lay this thing out. So you got a hangar going down one side. Now the hangar, before I introduced the module idea, the hangar was supposed to be a pass-through hangar, but that's not really possible if I have a Helios module there. So you got this 9 block wide hangar going down this side of the ship. On the other side of the ship, you have a double floor interior space. And I built these cross sections, and I copied and pasted those kind of down here, kind of laying out sort of where the floor space is going to be on the inside of the ship. And then the last thing I did is I ended up adding kind of a little asymmetrical part here with one idea of where the bridge could go. If I want, depending if I want to do it in a sled form like the Helios, or if I want to do like an island and build out like a bridge that comes up on one side of the ship, like over here, where you can kind of overlook the flight deck. And I haven't really made up my mind there yet. I think for the standpoint of efficiency, with a number of blocks used and getting around the ship, the sled idea would probably work out better. It would probably involve less blocks and be a little bit easier on the navigation of the ship as well. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And the last thing that I did is I sort of just kind of slopped together some really cheesy looking thrusters housings and copied those around the 4 corners of the ship. And that's where I ran into the issue when I was doing that. I had these ghost blocks, so I respawned the ship again without these parts, and because I couldn't delete them after I moved some things around. And then I ended up stopping the video because it kind of annoyed me. And that's kind of what happened on yesterday's video. I showed that new miner, and I named it pissing me off. And it wasn't because I was having trouble with the miner and its specs or how it was working. It was because I had an error in the game where I was working on it, and then my pedestal collapsed through the ground, and the thing started rolling around. Then I had to respawn it in space, and then add thrusters to it, get rid of the pedestal so I could work on it again. And that's basically what happened. Now, typically, creations like this I would normally build in space because it's easier to deal with that kind of thing. But in this case, I really wanted better lighting for the sake of doing the video and things like that. So that's kind of a recap of what went on here so far. Is a bunch of measuring, and I figured this would be a good time to continue on it. And right now, I don't think I'm concerned about the ghost blocks because when I do respawn it, it has those ghost blocks are not there anymore. So I'll just keep on working on the one on the pedestal here. So that's kind of in a nutshell what's going on so far. Now the idea behind this ship is kind of tricky, and I don't know if it's all going to work out yet or not. I wanted to build a starter carrier that is kind of like a a small Helios, but something that wouldn't come stock with its thrusters or any CV parts right off the gate. So you would spawn this in as essentially a starter base. I know it's kind of big for that, and that's one of those aspects where I'm not sure if it's going to work out super well. But you spawn it in as a starter base cheaply, where you don't need a bunch of weird resources or anything like that. So basically, like the Janus, if you're familiar with that ship, you spawn it in. It's like a player base until you add a bunch of parts to it to make it into a CV, and then you can take your base with you and fly out into space and continue on. And that's kind of what this is about. But the big goal of this one is to have this starter creation, basically a mobile base with a Helios module support that would have a lot more upgrade potential to it. So you could use it throughout the course of playing the game without like jumping to a different ship a little bit later on. But literally start out with a ship like, once you're like player level, I don't know, whatever level unlock this would be of low resources. So, and also to optimize its flight speed and motion and everything like that. And I wanted to get the thruster emplacements in, and that's kind of what I was working on there. When all this fell apart on me, but other than that, well, it's still going, and it's basically I wanted to have it run all its main directions of thrusters with these 2x2x4 versions. Now I know you can use the small ones and you can upgrade those a couple notches in Reforge Eden 2 to give it more performance over time. The thing is still, even with that said, these larger thrusters are going to be more efficient versus CPU usage on how much thrust power they make. And these can be upgraded as well. And since this is going to be kind of a carrier that could be responsible for eventually moving a fair amount of weight around, I kind of wanted to just go with the bigger thrusters in it, except for the down thrust. I cheaped out on the down thrust. So like each one of these little sample thruster things here basically have a strafing thrust, a either forward or reverse thrust, and then two down thrusters and a lift thruster. And they're kind of inverted going in the back side of the ship over here, sort of. It's probably missing a couple thrusters in there, but that's kind of how it's working out right now. Again, like a little Helios that's going to be hopefully super cheap, and that's why right now I've been building it out of carbon. I would prefer to build it out of something else, but I fear it's going to be too hard to move if it were steel or something like that right off the gates. Now, as in like, so the inside here, and this is why I've got these, I don't know, truss pieces, I guess you could say, is you would have a hangar going down this area here, and it's a 5x9 hangar door. And then on the other side of the ship, it's going to have 2 floors throughout most of it, except for maybe the back area that might try to accommodate some parts that couldn't fit in this size. Your bridge, I'm looking at, I think for the optimal position would be out front here, in this general area, kind of sticking out from the front of the ship asymmetrically there. Now, granted, this is just temp block, so everything's going to hopefully look a whole lot better than it does now. And then over in this general area off on the side of the hangar, this would be like your production room, so it'd be right next to the bridge. This could also, is probably going to have a farm in here. And the reason why I want to have a farm in this ship, unlike the Helios, is it only has 1 module bay. So if you wanted to do farming, but you only have 1 module bay, that would force you to grab a farming module. But you might want a production module or a storage module or some other kind of module in that place. And I didn't want to force you to use a farming module. So on this side again, lower floor would be production, upper floor as bridge, and probably more utility function. And then we got this whole section over here that could be dedicated to a farm, either maybe on the top floor or the bottom floor. And then would have areas for engineering parts and things like that too. I wanted to account for a lot of potential upgrade parts throughout its course of using the ship, such as turbines and more shield parts, generators, you name it. And then of course it would have the big flat top on it, so you could park CVs and other things on it, and then I'll also be able to move around HVs, SVs, whatever in the hangar. Again, I did want it to have be a pass-through hangar, but that's just really not possible with this layout if I wanted a Helios module in the back side of it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, just as a recap on what I'm trying to accomplish here. And it's tricky, and it's going to take a little bit to get this worked out. But I figured this would be a good time to continue on with it, and I wanted to try to actually do a little bit more block work and stuff with it as well here. Let me see if I can get rid of some of these. Yeah, okay, so those blocks aren't ghost blocks. This was just some measuring stuff I was doing earlier. And this whole thing is kind of asymmetrical. I mean, the interior layout's sort of asymmetrically done, different spacing on either side and stuff like that as well. But I just want to make this thing work, and then it's going to probably need a lot of revisions in its block work to try to make it look neat. And that's, I'm a little worried about that one right now, but, to be honest, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyway, to continue on here, after that little bit of recap here, I want to actually start trying to develop its style on appearance, on how it's going to look. So some actual like block work here, and then I also kind of want to start getting in and trying to figure out how I'm going to lay out some of the interior and fit a lot of the parts, see if I need to expand areas out a little bit more. But let's start at this point here. So what I'm going to do now, and one last thing too, these thruster units are basically built, I built one and then I used copy and paste to move it to the other side, and I flipped it, and I did the same thing going from the front to the back. So all four of these are kind of the same. A couple are missing their thrusters right now. So once these get developed and worked out with their block work, I'll probably just end up copying and pasting it to the four corners of the ship. And I did want the thrusters out on the corners for the sake of better performance, especially with your pitch, yaw, and roll. If they're in other locations, like towards the center of the ship or in locations like that, it's just not going to fly as good. And I want it to try to fly as good as it possibly can. So that kind of forces me to put thruster units in the corners of the ship here. And it's basically a big rectangle again. I would really like to get away from the rectangle approach, but you know, for something trying to be like what this is trying to be, I think that is the best way to go. So it's not built in symmetry either, so this is a little bit of a problem. Trying to line some things up here, but let's start doing some block work and try to make this thing prettier on the front side right now, and hopefully that can migrate to a style for the rest of the ship. And again, I want it to look nice and spacey. So I'm kind of not trying to go with a traditional like aircraft carrier kind of approach on this one. I kind of want it to be again a space carrier, but a much smaller version of a Helios with some other functionality in it. Lesser functionality overall, but stuff like that. So anyway, after the recap here, let's do some more block work here. How can we make the front of this ship look neat? And we want a bridge here in this general area. It might not have to be that big though. This is kind of wide. I was thinking originally that it was going to be a bit of a smaller bridge than what I've got going on here. So let's actually trim this up a bit as well. Let's say if we had, let's get some glass. I'll try this glass for now. Oh, you know what? The problem with this, again, on a starter ship, this I believe requires Sathium, and that is something I don't want the player to have to acquire early game. So I think I'm going to go with the old windows here, and we'll try to use their angles to make it look neat somehow here. But let's say if the bridge glass was 5 blocks across, and that's kind of what we got there now. And we want to have a nice visible view here. But I don't want it too tall either. One of my design things that I typically follow is when I put in windows, I don't like to have like super tall windows because it makes the creation look smaller if you have tall windows. If you have them like one block high in height, it'll just make has a way to make the creation look bigger. And I'd kind of rather would have that. So let's say in the center here, let's put in one of these right now. And we will modify all the blocks around the glass here once this is done. And we say we put one there and there. And I do want glass down here as well. So let's go with, let's try to do the 22.5 here. Something like that. We could have a regular block up on top here for now. And again, this is going to be reduced. But I think at the end, if all this works out, eventually it will, you know, you'll have your base right over here. You'll have a hangar on the side of it. And then you'll have an open area for a module on the back, plus a big landing deck on the top for its size. And I think that would be kind of a nice setup, actually. And that's kind of what I'm going for right now. I don't mind the idea. This is kind of unusually like sticking out on one side too. I kind of wanted asymmetrical features like that. I don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work yet, though. Be a lot of trial and error along the way here. Okay, so I do that right. And do we want the glass going all the way across like that? Should we change this around a little bit more here? I don't know. Let's keep on going with what's there. All right, so put in some side pieces here. I think I'm gonna go one step up bigger, so we got a little bit of like a ridge on the sides of the glass. So if I did like that there, and on the other side, it sticks out a little bit more. I can put in this block here, and we got this this ridge right here, which might add to the visuals eventually here. But not that piece. Let's put in an alt piece here, so we can kind of also bevel in that angle there. Not sure which one we want to use though. We got this option, or go to this piece, which would be more of a square edge, which would line up to the current bevel there. So I think, I don't know, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And grab a couple of those blocks like that. I do a lot of block stealing, so once I place a block, sometimes if it's convenient, I will hold down Control and right click, and then you can copy that block. Can save a lot of time in places there. So I wouldn't say this is a super wonderful looking bridge here. Let's try to do something here too on the top of this. I'm not sure. Maybe this angle. Let's change this again, and let's lower down the height of this over here. So we put in some of those there, like this. Oops. Get rid of a lot of that. Yeah, great thing about building in voxel games like this, so is you can do iterations of stuff really quickly. So you can just, you know, way faster than you could if you're gonna 3D model it all out. In most cases, probably. Okay. Let's get this in. We would want to build this up to the height of the flight deck, which would be just one more block up from here. that, and then that should again line up. So now we got a smaller, skinnier bridge. Trying to evaluate if I like it or not yet. In the center, though, the center glass, we don't need the center glass because I did want to put a cockpit, the pilot seat up in there. Probably at this height, right? Yeah, that would be the ground floor height of the second floor. So technically speaking, it would have like a wall there, the cockpit or the pilot seat. Let me grab one of them. Those got a weird name in here. It's like control station or something. Or not. What is it? Forget the name of it. I know it's in here somewhere though. Jeez. There it is. Okay, control stations. Okay. That was pretty close. Kind of want to observe how that's going to look too. You know, we could really do something really crazy and put this cockpit a little bit forward yet. I think we can pull that off. It is a CV and not a SV. SVs, you gotta watch that. But I think if we had that built up there, we could technically put the cockpit even. Okay, so it can go on this row. If we change that glass around on the front, it could go up one more block space forward. But should I is the question. Of course, your view would be better here than it would be back further by a little bit. Doesn't make much of a difference though in this case. Now let's try it here. Okay, so we can't, if we do that though, we can't add any like blocks here. So if you get out of the pilot, so you could fall into the glass and have to leap back up over there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should just keep it back there. Let's change some blocks here to make this a little, get something going on in there. How about a little angle? That. Technically speaking though, if I did keep that back to there, this could be glass. Doesn't have to be blocks then. Let's try that. I don't like the front side here though, that looks ugly. Big square. Yeah, what could we put there? Good question. Could try this. That'd be different. Kind of sitting up there. Yeah, visibility should be alright. That's another thing too. These side pieces here technically could be, or easily could be glass as well. And this angle doesn't necessarily have to be a 45 degree either. Let's experiment, see how it would look if it was 22.5 instead. And wrapped around a little bit to the sides. That. Of course, these blocks could go bye-bye, and we could put in the other wedge set here. The big question, do I want them to flare out like that, or do I want them... let's try the flare. I usually like flaring things out a little bit more than just keeping it all at the same angle. I could obviously make it fit the angles of the glass there, but it may not look better doing that. So if we did that there, let's do the same thing on the top side. And we would have to use this angle though to make that work. So that angle that's there is not quite right now. And then some of these builds too, after I get like a general layout, it is nice to try to dial in how you kind of want, you know, like start with a bridge or something like that is often helpful, so you can kind of get an idea on the kind of look you're trying to achieve with the rest of the ship, so it kind of fits together. And that's why often I will, you know, after trying to get some kind of layout generally built on something like this at least, I will try to build out a piece and tweak it out to, you know, like at least do the block work and try to figure out like the style and maybe establish some body lines and things like that before moving forward too much with like the interior and all the other things that needs to be done. Um, So, but I do want the bridge to look neat. But more importantly, even besides that, I want it to work so you can see where you're going and bring your passengers and all that fun stuff too here. Um, you know what? I'm going to get rid of these side glass pieces here on this case because I think it would look better in this case if it didn't have quite as much glass there, and I filled in this, maybe make it look a little bit tougher, but it's not really obstructing the pilot's view at all either. And yeah, okay, we'll get rid of that. Let's grab these. Just try to figure out if I like it or not right now. Let's add some more blocks. We'll find out. Oops. Oh, I don't know if you guys ever have that happen. Like, I'll be like looking at the screen, and then I'll move my hand like to have a sip of coffee or something like that, and then I come back to the keyboard and I'm like one off, and then I throw my active blocks away. Happens a lot actually. Grab some more of those anyway. Okay, so we got that. Let's put in, let's curve this off here, angle it off. To about that point there. I suppose we ought to do the top too. I don't know if I might want to rotate those blocks later depending on how it gets textured. Don't exactly know yet. So yeah, up above here too, it doesn't need to be 2 blocks tall in this area. So I mean, if we were going to add like a turret or even a place for a retractable turret or something, we could put something like that up here. That would give us a 3x3 block space for a turret. A lot of these blocks will end up changing too when I do the interior. Like these are full blocks right now, but often I will carve into them. And as long as they have a flat top in the end, it's cool. But right now I don't want to think about that until I get to the interior. Otherwise I'll just spend more time. So I'm going to fill that in. And we're just going to assume that this is a turret position here. We'll put a little indicator in the center here, I think. So that would be like a 3x3 turret mount spot. So down on the bottom side here, kind of want, okay, so this is going to have to eventually angle into the floor height, which is over here. So let's just see what happens here. Let's use some different blocks for that, especially in this spot here. And of course, I kind of want it to look kind of industrial too. So that's something I haven't really tried to put into the stuff yet here. But let's try to do a little bit of that and a full block here. And you know, there's something else I want to do too. I think it'll be easier to see what's going on. Let me just generically kind of fill this whole thing in. Oops. Let's try that again. Okay. So it's much brighter this time. Alright, that helps too. The carbon are kind of hard to see, especially if you're working on things in space. Alright, so down below here, let's lose the frame piece, and we'll just kind of keep on tilting this in until it reaches the edge here. And then maybe modify that edge as well. And okay, so yeah, down over here, let's also swap those blocks with that, and let's just change that around too. Now, it's almost coming up to another potential place here where a turret could be put on the bottom side here, which wouldn't be a bad location. Tend to try to look for that when I'm building these things. Sometimes it's hard to find good places for turrets, but if you can work that out ahead of time, it makes it easier for sure. Okay, so up here, let's put in this block with the flat edge there. And let's go to this kind of traditional turret mount position. I used probably way too much, but just ran out of ideas for blocks below a turret. There's always certain things that seem to work out all right. This is a good way to do it. It's pretty easy, very easy actually. And tends to look okay. And it will actually transition all right going into a half block height there as well, I think. Fill that in. And now we've got another turret position here. I wish this tool with the multicolored texture tool thing, I wish that weird forgetfulness bug that was introduced a few patches ago would go away. That's been a pain in the butt ever since. Okay, so let's just put in some regular blocks here for now. And let's spray this up so it, oops, darn it. Not that. Let's go back here, that color, and this. Okay. Now, one other thing I really need to think about too, we do have a spot where we can stick a turret, but another nice feature here would be a quick way into the to this cockpit bridge area here. Maybe right behind it, like in this general location. This would be the height of our flight deck here. So if we had, I'll just kind of generically block that off right now. We could easily have like a, I don't know, door, drone hatch kind of door thing right up on top there, which is just right behind where the pilot seat is. Not by far either. And these blocks actually don't need to be there anymore. Alright, so as in windows, let's see if we can extend the glass a little bit on the sides. How would that work out? Just a little bit more of a wraparound view, but I think I'll just stop it right there. Granted, in this situation, I think it would probably look better with heavy glass, but I couldn't do the angle down there. But I could do a row of heavy glass kind of in here, but that would introduce sathium as a resource that you need to get this in right off the gates, which would be not a real fun time to have to get. So I'd just soon avoid it. Alright, so up here, let's change these blocks around so we can make this look a little neater. thing on how I want to do this, so we could angle it like that, but we gotta avoid the turret. Don't like this big bulky angle here, so let's get rid of it. How about that instead? And then this should work out with this block. And let's get some more ceiling up here for now too. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Maybe not there. And maybe run those to there. And then we're going to be up into the flight deck after that. That work? Okay, almost. This part's bad though. Try something weird here. I'm trying to give like different like ridge lines in it, so it again I kind of want it to make it look like it's got a little framework going on into it as well, part of that industrial style look, and I'm looking for opportunities to add things like that in here yet. Like that little line over the edge there. Okay, and then let's just take these, I guess, back straight. Or no. Put that here. A lot of these will probably have to be rotated again once it's doing the texturing, basically. Not sure if some of these angles are going to line up right or not yet. I mean, technically speaking, this could have some side entry doors up here too, besides the door up there, but I don't know if that would really be necessary. Kind of a weird spot. You got it right up there too. Yeah, all right. Let's try to do some side trim here and try to do something with this wall space here as well. So here for now, and these will probably be replaced later on, but some full blocks here. And could be a little, I don't know how it would look, but there could be a little trick here. Unless it screws up the interior. Oh, it screws up that there, okay. What I was thinking about doing is kind of inverting a layer of this to make like a cut in here. Maybe that can still be done out here. Let me try to show what I'm talking about here. We want it like that, and so we had one of those there, and I just don't think it's going to work super well, but maybe. And we invert it this way, and then we can't get the block in there. Yeah. So if we don't do the block there, we do it like that. And a block here, which is actually okay because that's the floor doesn't come up till here anyway, so that'll work. So we could do that and add a little cut in there. Probably looks better than just being full. Is that where I did it? Yeah, I think so. Then we do that. Another one of these here. No, here. Or is that what I did on the other side? Yeah, so this wall here is where it squares off. Okay, so that should just be a full block. Alright. Now, here. I'm probably going right across. All these blocks are going to transition to a wedge. Probably right across the hangar bottom as well. But we'll break this up a little bit. This is going to need a ramp going to the hangar as well. Alright, so this space back here, what can we do with it? I don't know if I'm going to like these wedge pieces I put in there or not, but let's see if we can back that with something that fits. Let's see what it looks like. Something like that. Alright. And it could kind of work, I suppose. Let's get some blocks back here. Oh. Fill this in here too. I'm trying to leave like something there, but I don't know if I'm gonna like that formation or not yet. Let's do it on the other side here too. That would be in that location and this location. You know what? I was looking at this every time I see it here, and I'm kind of wondering if this shouldn't be indented a little bit, just for the heck of it. So we got, so these beams look a little bit more like beams, sort of, by indenting it a little bit. Like that, kind of add in that little bit of line there. And you know what would help, I think. Again, I'm trying to define these pieces to try to make it look like kind of some structural frame beams going on in the ship. But I want them to stick out more than the other areas around the ship here, or have them fluctuate at least. Maybe we'll do it like that. So then they have their own defined area, and then it kind of bulks out again once it gets to the hangar, at least on the edges of the hangar. And then here, let's try to put. Thing is, there's going to be these ramps in front of it, and those are almost a half block in their size anyway. So, what if it used something like that, so we get just a little bit of a different angle there, and then the ramps would line up pretty good to that, and you got that little bit of inset there, which probably should be in the center too. Kind of going across the front, or even better yet, oops. No, I guess I needed to remove that anyway. Or what if it just went to a half block, and then we brought that in later. This is where the line should be. Just a little bit off on this. So this would actually be a hanger here. And let's do that here as well. And hanger. This part's a little weird here in the center, though. I'm really trying to figure out what to do with that. Don't quite like it now. I'm not sure. Yeah, these blocks aren't really working for me too much either over there, but I definitely want to get some detail around the area. Let's see if let's try to build some kind of trim formation around the hangar door opening here. See if that can bring some things together a little bit more. Nice to have some texture lights in here too. So this is a wonderful block for texture lights. I love this thin block edge on it. There's quite a few different options for texture lights you can put over those. And if I have one of these positioned in the four corners, then you could have a nice, well spaced out texture light in all four corners basically. This could look kind of neat in the end. And let's also angle this in more too. Try to keep this kind of angly as much as I can, even though it's a big rectangle again. And then, well, here we got a solid block behind here, so we can do decorative thingies here. And I think I'm just going to keep it pretty simplistic right now. Maybe. I was debating whether to do that, which could work. Yeah, I'll just run with that for now. If I don't like it later, I'll change it. Yeah, and here I just don't know what to do because of that formation there. It's like, what would fit in there that could look alright. We got a 2x3 space. If I could get something technical in there, just something to break it up a little bit. How about maybe just a random roundy thing? See what it looks like. Maybe like some kind of tank it's holding here or something. With some other kind of block on the inside of it, at least on one side. That, and maybe I don't know if I like that. Something, but yeah, I think this would be better. Maybe I'll just go with just continue with the round. So a little something there. Alright, so let's fix this angle coming in between these two. A quick fix there. Quite sure on how I want to do this with the thrusters, but it's a little bit more even on both sides, but for some reason now the thrusters on this side of the ship look like they're out further than they should be, but I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think it is. I think that was measured out right. So yeah, they're one block away from the edge. Yeah, I think they're even. Alright. So this extends out a little bit more this way than it does on the other side of the ship here. But I did want to create the illusion that these thrusters, again, are separated from the actual ship. Just more of a cosmetic thing than anything else. But not these thrusters are junk right now, too. So keep in mind, those are going to change. I don't exactly know what they're going to change into, but I definitely want to make them look better than what they do right now. That's for sure. Okay, let's try to get some flight deck stuff going on in here and see how that's going to all work out. But in the corners, see, are we the same on both sides? At this level, where these line up, we are. So no, we're not. That starts here. Is this wrong? I got a thruster pushed forward too much. Oh, it is. This thruster's one off. Oops. Didn't even realize that. Okay. That changes some things. Let me try to fix that. Yeah, I can't have stuff like that. It'll really screw up building the rest of it. You just got, yeah, when you do these things, the more technical and complex they are, you really got to watch it. If you get off on something like this is one block forward than the other. Say I go through and I build all this out, don't catch it. Then later on I'm looking at it, I'm like, what's wrong here? Why aren't things lining up? It could cause you a lot of problems. So if you could catch it, just really look at that stuff when you're building early on. Trying to make sure you don't have those errors that will, extend later on and cause turn into something much bigger of a problem. Okay, so we're gonna cut and paste. Looks like it's working this time. Okay, so now that is aligned correctly. The whole reason I wanted to do that is so we can kind of try to make some blocks look like they're attaching to this area from the main hull. I was thinking about actually using a couple curvy pieces, this big, I don't know, roundy beam or something that goes out there just a little bit. We could actually try to bring that in a couple block rows and then maybe put some kind of cross beam across there to kind of make it look like it's a, I don't know, a swivel or something like that. Maybe. It doesn't work quite the same on the other side though, does it? Not really. I'm going to just do a bunch of block fills in. I want to see how this is kind of sort of going to work out here. Let's get some of these in. Is that, yeah, this is all aligned. About here. So that's off on this side though. Or no, it's not. Okay. Wait, what? That's how it would be on the other side. Okay, so no, this actually does work out. So that would go to where this angle is here now. Now, I wouldn't mind having that angle like that, kind of trimming up the sides of the ship, maybe extend past the hull a little bit, create a little crevice here on the side for decorative purposes. So let's, this doesn't look good right there though, so. Have to fix that later on there. So how do we make this look all good and tied together here? And a potential place over here for a turret mount as well. If the blocks are changed on the sides a little bit. Let's do that. Now let's do it with the rounds. I did that already. We'll just go with that style so it's consistent. Get rid of that and that. Put in some more roundies. And might as well just fill that in with a full block. And bam, we got another turret position there. And that was just past the thrusters. Yeah. Okay, so here, there. These down thrust pieces don't really have to be right there either, so that's a big thing. They don't, you know, I'm trying to work around them, but I don't, kind of becoming problematic in the cosmetics here. Yeah. Let's do something a little different here. How about we had one here and one there? Oh no, see that doesn't line up nice to the turret mount position, which is actually more important because you'll be seeing it from this direction. So maybe I keep one there and then have 3 block separation. So it kind of all lines up. And then we could put in some kind of block here. Bit of an angle ridge here. Rotate it the right way. I know I'm going to want to paint that top. Oops. That looks so weird. There it is. Okay. Almost. Let's put it in on this side here too. Let's swap up the corners in it. See if, no, that doesn't work. Never mind. No swapping out corners. Well, I mean, so far I don't think it looks wonderful at all. But I think with enough work, just keep on kind of going over a lot of these body pieces here, it could work out. And I do definitely want to finish this one out for sure. So I will, not sure how much more I want to do on this video or how long this video is exactly gone on for right now. But certainly needs more work. But I figure, you know, if I start with the front end, if everything's kind of sort of measured out in here already, where it's going to work, it shouldn't be too bad of a build to do. I'm just trying to do the hardest parts, probably at this point, which is, well, kind of the layout of, you know, measuring everything out and then trying to get the exterior cosmetics in place and how it's going to work out. But a big thing before I really go too much further with doing a lot of this hull is I really ought to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with these thruster housings. I don't like what's there. This is really stupid looking and tall and bleh right now. So if those look better, that would help the front end look of everything else. Yeah. And then, of course, you know, once you get it all painted and everything to it, will change the appearance quite a bit as well. But I'll stop there right now. But anyway, you get the idea of what's going on here. Please, feedback is super helpful. You know, ideas, cosmetic ideas, whatever it might be on it. And again, so many, everything on this could absolutely change yet. So I'm still trying to debate whether or not I like this bridge or not. and some of the little cosmetic factors, like, you know, the cut in there and stuff like that. I'm trying to like take every little area I can and fit what I can into it, and that's why I'm, you know, if I can bang off some turret positions. Basically, it's not a combat ship, but it does need to have like 360-degree drone protection, and stuff like that on it. You know, flying around in space or even landing on a planet. You're going to want that. So just trying to get those in where I can find spots for it, but they also got to work as in a good defensive position as well. Like up here, if I incorporate a turret position in each one of the thrusters, that would be automatic. Like you got your 4 nice turrets, like kind of side up, kind of on the sides of the flight deck, out over there, and give you a good line of protection already just with the 4 turrets. Of course, maybe doubling those up on the bottom side, and maybe a couple more on the front or the back might be a nice thing too. Again, this thing's going to have to come super cheap though, and be a quick spawn time and have a functional production area in it to some extent. You know, like at least starter production base kind of thing. And then, of course, all the thrusters will be cut out of the thing, and that's kind of how it's looking. But also, you know, that just dawned on me too, because I do plan on cutting these thrusters out before it goes out there. And right now, I couldn't really even do much with. Well, you could put some grates in here to fill in the holes, and you get rid of the grates, you pop in the thrusters. Yeah, that's kind of what took place on the Janus as well. I just think that would be a neat approach. I mean, if I was going to do it like a playthrough on Reforged Eden 2, once it gets done and ready, this would be kind of a neat approach to take for a ship. It might have a little bit more resources right off the gate, but instead of spawning a base, you spawn this, and then you run around, you salvage all the stuff, you start popping in thrusters and generators and a pilot seat and all the things to make it a working CV, and then you fly it away from your starter planet, and then you don't have that big waste going on there of abandoning a starter base or anything like that. And then you got a ship that you could actually use for a good amount of time in game, or till the end game actually, which would be the ultimate goal. Again, I don't know if it's going to achieve that. I do feel bad that it's carbon right now, but I'm scared to death if it was built of steel, because it's still going to need a lot of blocks, and it's going to be heavier. And if you're trying to get this off a starter planet with little dinky thrusters, that could be a problem. So anyway, I'll stop this video here, and I'll continue on with this right where we left off on the next video. Could take place tomorrow, potentially, or maybe even over the weekend. I'm not sure yet, but other than that, it's a start. It's somewhere. Sorry you didn't see the building of the original measuring, but this was really boring, and then it screwed up on me, so it was just a waste of time. At least there's some block work and some things worked out on this version, so a little bit better. Anyway, y'all have yourself a great day, and I will talk to you later.